All right, we're live. Okay, so number one says, given triangle PIG, find the value of each trig ratio. Trig ratio. So when you guys see the word ratio, that's just a fancy word for fraction, okay? For angle P and angle G. Well, we've got sine, cosine, tangent. Those are our ratios, okay? And so I'm just going to start off with sine of P, cosine of P, and tangent of P. Let's do that first. So if I go to angle P, I like to label the name of the sides. It's just helpful for me. Throw a rock to the opposite side, 8. My adjacent side is the 15, and the 17 is the hypotenuse, okay? So when I set those up using my ratios, okay, my sine is my opposite over my hypotenuse, or 8 over 17. That's my answer. Cosine of P, adjacent over hypotenuse, 15 over 17. That's my answer. And then tangent of angle P is opposite over adjacent, or 8 over 15. That's my answer. That's all I need. Now, I also want to do the other acute angle. So, all right, I'm going to fix some things around. So I'm going to walk to the other side of the triangular lake, right? I like to talk about that. So it's like, say, Taba's like, no, I don't like this part of the lake. There's not enough sunshine. So Taba walks to the other side of the lake. There she is. We haven't seen sunshine forever, and everything changes, right? So all of a sudden, the opposite side's over here at the 15, the adjacent side's here by the 8, and the hypotenuse still hypotenuse. And then, from there, again, we're going to take a look at our ratios. We've got sine of G. I'm going to have cosine of G and tangent of G. And then I'm just going to set up my ratios from there and have, let's see, I'd have sine of G, which is the opposite over the hypotenuse. Well, okay, that's going to be my 15 over my 17. I'm going to have my cosine, which is my adjacent over my hypotenuse, which is 8 over 17. And my tangent of G, which is my opposite over adjacent, which is 15 over 8. Okay, thumbs up. You guys can all do that. Easy peasy. First 6 questions, bam. Everybody should be able to get those, and that should help your grade, right? Okay, number 2. Let's move on. So, all right, probably not enough room to do all of this on this sheet, so I'm going to do it on a separate sheet of paper. Number 2, just draw my triangle out real quickly like this, and it is triangle CAT. I have a 50-degree angle here, and that's 12. Okay, now, let's see how this little thing goes. It's a right triangle, right? It's a right triangle, so we need to use these formulas, okay? So, the first thing I do, the easiest, you guys can help me with this. What's the easiest thing to find in this picture? Yeah, angle A. I agree. Angle A is just simply 90 degrees minus my 50 degrees. So that's 40. Okay, that's easy. Now, it's up to you, but like Grace always says, thank you, Grace, start at the angle. You guys agree with that? So which angle do you want to start at? The 50 or the 40? I don't care. Scott, which angle do you like? The 50 or the 40? Doesn't matter. 40 it is. Okay, go to your angle. That makes this my opposite side, my adjacent side, and my hypotenuse, right? Well, if I have to find either this side, little t, let's just call it little t, or this side, which would be little a, again, it doesn't matter which one you find first. So, Tave, what do you want to find, little a or little t?
Little t.
Little t it is. So she's forced me to use cosine, hasn't she? Cosine because adjacent hypotenuse, okay. Again, you've got your notes, you can look at the board, but adjacent hypotenuse is cosine of our angle of theta equals my adjacent over my hypotenuse, right? I'm just writing down what's up there, and I like that Gretchen's ahead of me. Good for you, Gretchen, because you don't. This is easy, isn't it? Theta is the angle, so cosine of 40 equals the adjacent side, which is t, over hypotenuse, which is 12. How am I doing, okay? If I get going too fast, will you slow me down? I think some of you guys are ahead of me, which is good, right? Multiply by 12 to solve, multiply by 12. Always check your mode. We talked about that. If your mode's in the wrong mode, you're going to get a weird answer, aren't you? So I'm in the right mode. I'm just going to go 12 times the cosine of 40. Bam! I get an answer of about 9.2. All right. Now, I can also find then little a. Okay, so if I find little a, I've got my 40, I've got my 12. I could use Pythagorean's theorem, but I think the sine function's easier. Opposite hypotenuse. I'm just going to use my sine function. Sine of my angle, or sine of 40 degrees, equal to my opposite over my hypotenuse, a over 12, okay? And I think you guys are good at this. We've been doing right triangle trig for almost 2 weeks now. My guess is you're probably cruising on this. Multiply both sides by 12, multiply by 12, multiply by 12. Stop me, please, if you're confused. Stop me if you need help. I'm just going to go 12, sine of 40. I think you know how to do this. About a 7.7, right? So little a is about 7.7. Okay, let me see. Thumbs up. I really want to see. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Good. All right. All right, let's take a look at number 3.
For the answers, do you just have to write down like angle this equals that?
Yeah.
Like this, or should we just fill in the triangle?
No, you got to put it in this spot. Scott, if you don't, I'll find it, but it makes it harder for me to grade. Okay. All right, number 2. Again, it's a right triangle, isn't it? All right, sorry, number 3. It's a right triangle, which means we can use our, our regular right triangle trig. But I don't know an angle, so I got find an angle. We're gonna have to use the blue button to do number 3. So number 3, I'm just gonna draw it out again. Triangle Ben. Triangle B, E, N. 3 and 10. All right. Ava, what do you want to find? Angle B or angle N? It does not matter.
Angle N.
And it is opposite, adjacent. We're going to have to use tangent, right? Angle N has to be tangent, so we'll set up tangent of angle N is equal to 3 over 10. But again, my notes say, hey, if I have to find an angle, I'm going to use my blue button or my second button. So I'm going to go, okay, tangent inverse of 3 over 10. And now let's see, my calculator's going to say something. I'll go tan inverse, 3 divided by 10. And I get an answer about 16.7 degrees, okay, 16.7. So angle N is about 16.7 degrees. Okay. So then, what would be really easy to find now? Angle B. Right? So I'm just going to go 90 degrees minus 16.7 degrees. Just use my calculator to get that. 90 minus 16.7. Again, that's about 73.3 degrees. Okay, so far so good. And now, side E, which is the hypotenuse, or BN. We got to find that too. So now, let's see. To find this side, we need an angle to work with. Axel, which one do you like? Do you like well, never mind. We'll just use that one because I didn't write that one down. Okay, we'll just use it. Sorry, Axel, I didn't give you a choice of anything. But, Axel, I will let you know this. Do you want to use the 3 or the 10? Which one do you want to use, the 3 or the 10? The 3. So we're going to use sine, opposite hypotenuse. We're going to use the sine. Go sine of 16.7 equals my 3 over my hypotenuse. Just call that little e. And again, if I'm going to divide to make it quick, I can multiply by the e, but then I'd have to divide by sine it. So I just switch places with them. So little e is equal to 3 divided by sine of 16.7. use my calculator. 3 divided by sine 16.7. And I get about a 10.4. How am I doing? Pretty good? Okay, all right. All right, let's see. Number 4. All right. I'm going to turn my page here. So number 4 is not. It is not a right triangle. Okay, so wait a minute. Not a right triangle. Okay, so my notes say not a right triangle. Maybe law of sines if I have a pair of opposites. Well, I do. I do have a pair of opposites. I have an angle and its opposite side. So I'm going to use the law of sines. So I'm going to find side C because I have opposites there, okay? So opposites, opposites. I'm going to set up the law of sines. I might need to put this on a separate sheet of paper. It's never going to fit. So let me draw this out real quick. Not a very good picture, you guys. I'm not much of an artist. No doubt about that at all. So I'm going to set up my C. It's all about opposites. C over the sine of 80 equals 5 over the sine of 35, right? Okay. All right. Multiply. We've got to solve, so I'm going to multiply up by the cross multiply. I'm going to multiply up by the sine of 80. Multiply by the sine of 80. And I'm just going to use my calculator. 5 sine 80 divided by sine 35. Let's see what I get. About 8.6 for that side. Okay. Put that in there, 8.6. All right. What else could I find? What else can I find in this triangle? What else?
Angle.
Let's find angle B. 180 degrees, right? 180 minus my 35 plus my 80. Okay, let's see when I do that. Okay, so I'm going to go 180, subtract my 35 plus my 80, and I get an answer of about 65 degrees. Okay. And now I can find this opposite again. Back to opposites, right? I can find this opposite. I get side B, angle B. I've got opposites with my 35 and my 5. So, all right, I can do the same thing. I go side B over the sine of its opposite equals the 5 over the sine of its opposite angle. Okay, to solve, I'm just going to multiply up by the sine of 65. So multiply sine 65, sine 65, and I'm just going to use my calculator. All right. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Grace, you'll slow me down if I am, right? You promise? Sine 65 divided by sine 35, and up. One more time, sine 5 times sine of 65 divided by sine of 35, and again it's about 7.9. Okay, so little b is about 7.9. Okay, thumbs up. How am I doing? Thumbs up? Yes?
Can you use the button?
What's that?
Can you use the button?
Yes, you may. Yeah. Okay, all right. All right, here we go. 5. Let's not solve all of 5. Let's only find like angle. I don't want to do all of it. You got that? Got that. Let's find angle G. Just because I'm not going to make you solve all of the triangles on the test. Actually, on the test, I'm only going to have you solve one thing because it's too much work, right? But let's find angle G. So if I do angle G, 5. Yeah, on the test I shortened it. I didn't have you do because it's too much to solve all. We don't have enough time. PIG, my favorite triangle. And I got 84 and 13. And I've got 12. Okay. Angle G. Let's see if we can find angle G, okay? Angle G. Now, back to our notes. So if you want to know how to use your cool notes, is it a right triangle? No. So it's not a right triangle? Law of sines. But do you know a pair of opposites? Yes. You know a pair of opposites. So if you know a pair of opposites, right, and you want to find an angle, my notes has that, right? I'm going to set it up using the law of sines, but I got to remember to use the sine inverse of the answer. Okay, so my notes are pretty good, and we're just going to set up sine of angle G over 12 equals sine of 84 over 13, right? Multiply by 12, multiply by 12. And so then I'll have sine of G is equal to, well, whatever this is. Let's see what that decimal is, okay? So, all right, 12 times sine 84 divided by 13, and I should get a decimal. Uh-oh. Oh, I didn't close my parentheses. Look what happened. Oh, man, that's a bad thing to do. Let's try this again. 12 sine of 84 parentheses divided by 13. There we go. And then sine inverse of that answer. Wow, 66.6. Close those parentheses, right, Scott? Man, I had the wrong answer. Okay. Same thing on 6. Let's not solve all of it. Let's just find side y. Okay, let's just find y. We don't need to do all of it. I'm not going to ask you to do all of it on the test. All right, so side y. Again, let me go ahead and rewrite this triangle. 147, 5. Okay, how do I use my notes? Okay, first of all, it is not a right triangle. Nope. But I don't know. I do not know a pair of opposites. I don't. So then I turn the paper and we look at the law of cosines, which we learned. We learned the law of cosines on Friday. Well, let's see. It says opposite squared equals adjacent squared plus adjacent squared minus 2 times adjacent times the cosine of the angle. Okay, let's see if we can use my formula here. So I'm going to set up. This is going to be my opposite. Let's just call that x. That's my opposite, right? Adjacent, and that's my opposite. Because I know this angle. There's its opposite, okay? So my formula says, let's see, opposite squared. Okay, so I'm going to go x squared equals my adjacent squared, 5 squared, plus my other adjacent squared, 7 squared, minus 2 times my adjacent times my other adjacent times the cosine of my angle, okay? And if you missed Friday, then that was the formula we learned. It's not a hard formula. I mean, it's just long. I mean, most of what we're going to do is just put that in the calculator. So we're going to put all of this into my calculator. Okay, and then we'll square root that. So then take all of that, put that in my calculator, we'll square root that answer because it's x squared, right? Square root. All right, so I'm just going to type the numbers in. It's a long formula, but no big deal because I'm just going to go 5 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 5 times 7 times the cosine of 140, okay, and I get an answer. Now that answer can't be 127 if those are 5 and 6, but if I take the square root of that, 11.3, that makes sense. Okay. How am I doing? Okay, good. Let's look at the next one, okay? So, all right. Okay, number 7, graph. Let's see, I need a piece of graph paper. I've got that handy. There we go. 7. Okay, I'm gonna graph this. Let's see what I got. Number 7. All right, I'm gonna go 4, 3, negative 2, 3, negative 2, negative 5. All right, looks like a right triangle to me. Pretty sure it is. Pretty sure it's a right triangle. And yeah, it's definitely a right triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a length of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a length of 8, right? Angle R, well, this is my opposite. This is my adjacent, right? It is a right triangle, so I'm going to use what's up above. So I'll set up tangent, opposite adjacent. Tangent of angle R is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. But I have to use the inverse button because I'm looking for the angle. Have to use that inverse button, that blue button. I'm going to go tan inverse of 8 divided by 6. And I get about 53.1. So tangent inverse of 8 over 6. And angle R is about 53.1 degrees. Okay? How am I doing? Now, side RT, right here. I'm just going to use Pythagorean's theorem. I'm going to go a squared plus b squared equals, that squared, we'll call it c squared if you want. It's not really c squared, but we'll call it c squared if you want. That's a 6, not a b. 64 plus 36, right? 100. Thanks, Gretchen. Square root of that is 10, right? Okay, thumbs up. That's pretty easy, right? Good. Whisk this away. We'll look at the back side. Okay, we're getting there, okay? All right. Story problems. You got to have some story problems. It's trig, right? Okay, number 8. Okay, an 18-foot ladder leans against a 12-foot wall. What is the angle formed by the ladder and the ground? Okay, well, let's draw a picture. All right. Eight 18-foot ladder's got to be there. 12-foot wall. And the angle formed by the ladder and the ground, that's got to be there, right? Okay. Looks to me as if we're going to have opposite over hypotenuse, right? So I'm going to set up my sine, right? So I go sine, there's my opposite. There's my hypotenuse. Sine of theta, opposite of hypotenuse, which is 12 over 18. But again, we're looking for the angle, so we're going to have to do the inverse. Sine inverse of 12 over 18. Okay. Sine inverse. Oh, clear that, I got parentheses. Sine inverse of 12 divided by 18, and I get an answer of about 41.8 degrees. I think you guys are going to find this pretty easy. I don't hear anybody saying, I don't get it, Mr. Davies. I think we're going to be pretty good on trig, huh? Hopefully this is the easiest stuff we've done. Am I going too fast? Am I doing okay? All right, number 9. Let's finish this up, huh? Okay, the shadow of a tree on the ground, I always say that because some kids think the shadow is like, no. On the ground is 18 feet long, and the angle of elevation at the top of the tree is 54 degrees. What's the height of the tree? Okay, well, again, here's my tree. And 18-foot shadow, 54 degrees, and here's my tree, right? All right, I have opposite, adjacent, right? How about tangent? Tangent of 54 degrees equals my opposite over my adjacent. Multiply both sides by 18, and 18 times the tangent. 54, I can answer about 24.77. I might round it to 24.8, okay? 8. Probably feet. I'm sure it's feet. How am I doing? Okay, we are almost done. Number 10. Okay, wheelchair ramp. A length of the ramp is 4 feet. Oh yeah, you guys got to be careful. 4 inches. Don't blow this one. What do I have to do? I've got a problem. Yeah, I'm going to convert. Let's just make this into 48, right? 48 inches. You guys okay with that? Convert. Have to convert, right? Otherwise, you're totally going to have the wrong answer. So, all right. Opposite. Hypotenuse. I've got to go sine of theta equals my opposite of my hypotenuse. All right. Sine inverse, right? Sine inverse, because I need the angle. All right. Sine inverse. 4 divided by 48. About 4.8 degrees. There you go. It might make code. That's pretty close to code, I think. Okay, am I doing okay? We're almost done with this. All right, 11. An airplane flying at an elevation of 8,000 feet. Let's see, okay? Here's my 8,000 feet. Let's see how bad my airplane is. There's my airplane. Descends towards an airport, right? Angle of depression, right there, 8 degrees. I know my picture's way, way off perspective. How far is the plane from the airport? Okay. Now, this 8 degrees is also here. Okay? These two angles are equal because of the parallel lines. So opposite hypotenuse. Opposite hypotenuse. Let's use sine of 8 degrees is equal to my opposite, which is 8,000, divided by my hypotenuse, which is x. Okay, well, I can't really solve for x in the bottom of the fraction, so I multiply it up, divide by set of 8, or just trade places. X is equal to 8,000 divided by sine of 8 degrees. And I'm just going to go 8,000 divided by sine of 8. And I'm about 57,482 feet away. If you want that in miles, not that you care, but if you did want that in miles, I'd divide that